Good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to One Hub Racing Season 24, round number 8 in the P1 tier, the creme de la creme of this league. And we head to, well, we've been in Europe for quite a while, but now we head to South America, the Autodromo I can't even remember the circuit name, it's that crazy. But anyway, we're in Mexico City tonight for the Mexican Grand Prix. Was used in Formula 1 quite recently, and it was a great spectacle in the last few years, so we should be expecting exactly the same as what we see in real life as well, and we've seen plenty of brilliant One Hub races too. So my name is Jess Ball. Max will be joining us in a few moments time as he gets home from work, so just bear with us in that front. Hope you guys also enjoyed your week off. I certainly did. I was watching a bit of NASCAR in the evening straight after Jeddah, so that was fun. So what it'll be interesting to know what you guys did. But anyway, One Hub Racing, we got stuff to talk about. So last time out we were at Monza, and we saw Samba take another victory to bring the gap down to 2 points in the standings. I may as well talk about the standings now, so I'll bring that up quickly. There's people on laps, but there was a few reasons why I had to start the stream a bit late, because I had stuff to prepare for. So Aiden currently leading the way on 137 points for Samba's 135. Ben Mills had a decent race. He got another podium last time out. He did third in the championship and finished third a couple of weeks ago. Jaco had a good showing, 4th place in the standings. Probably the best of the rest right now, because you can see that there's 2 different groups. And then you got the likes of Jaco, Bryn, Lynx, Larkin, Colin, Chalkers, Nate Clark. They're all in that little group as well. Then we got the likes of Nick, Danestar. Hold on, let me just scroll up. There we go. Matter, Casper, Lakitu, Konzo. We do have a few new drivers tonight, which I will go through in just a moment. But we may as well go through the constructors' standings, if it will let me get that up. Come on. There we go. So AlphaTauri leading on 201 points. And we got Ferrari in second on 183. Williams in third on 155. Alpine in fourth on 116 points. Alfa Romeo in fifth on 97 points. Mercedes in sixth on 81 points. Then we got McLaren in 7th on 54 points, and I'm trying to multitask things at the same time. 8th is Red Bull on 38 points. Then we have got a 9th in as Haas with 38, and Aston Martin in last place on 13 points. Now, I am trying to get my co-commentator in the lobby, but we got our co-commentator in the Discord call. So, hello, Max. How you doing?
I'm very good, thank you, Jess. How are you on the Sunday evening?
Don't want to talk about it, to be honest. I can rant on a little bit afterwards. So I can't get you in at the moment, which is very weird. So hopefully we can use our technique a little bit. But yes, Mexico should be interesting. We've got some changeable conditions coming up our way. Oh, I see you now. It took me a while for you to appear there. I see you. There we go. I saw you. So it's all good. We're all sorted now. So hopefully you should get an invite shortly. But yeah, there's going to be some rain in the race, for most of the race actually. Heavy rain to light rain to dry. And speaking from experience, it's going to be quite tricky for the drivers.
Yeah, it certainly will, of course. With a dry qualifying as well, we'll see what the setup-wise the drivers go for. Do they benefit themselves in that qualifying session and just sort of hope that it changes to intermediate conditions quite quickly from the full wets? Or do they go for that wet weather, that wet setup, and then just see that out all the way and then take some pain if it dries up near the end of the Grand Prix? We'll have to wait and see, but it all depends on what the weather does and how these drivers do think what the race is going to do. So do they think that it's going to dry up or not? So it's going to be interesting to see. We could really see some outliers here in qualifying. Maybe the drivers that have gone for more wet weather orientated setups compared to the dry. So we could maybe see the likes of Samba or Aiden down at the back, and then you've got the likes of J. Cole could be up near the front, maybe the Keto as well. So it's going to be not really too much about qualifying, but certainly about the race. I think for qualifying standards, this one not so important than others that we've seen so far this season.
Can I just double check? Have you got Taz sorted?
Yes, let me quickly change the port now.
Oh.
Thank you for reminding me. Thank you for reminding me there, Jess.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And it's handy that I managed to give you the information before it closed at like 8 o'clock. But Ben Mills currently out on top with a 1:15.530 Lakitu. I'm going to keep my eye out on Lakitu today because I was watching his time trial laps on Twitter or X. I don't know what you like to call it. But Lakitu is looking good around Mexico. It's one of his favourite circuits. And I'm just trying to see if he puts something in the pre-race interviews about it. He does not. But he is someone to keep an eye on later on as well. We have got some engine penalties as well. We got Matta and Nate Clark doing their engine penalties today. So they'll be starting at the back of the grid. And we've got 2 new drivers here today who's going to be racing for the rest of the season. They may not make all the races, but at least they're here. So we've got Arnold, who's going to be in the Aston Martin. And we've got Blind, who's going to be in the Haas for the rest of the season. We tend to get new drivers every week, but it is a hard track for them to start their one-hub racing. Well, Arnold has raced in one-hub before, but for Blind's sake, this is a hard track to have your one-hub racing debut on.
Yeah, it certainly is. This circuit got a lot of low speeds, low traction corners around it, a lot of segments where it's very tricky to get the power down. Sometimes it just feels like you're driving on ice, especially in that stadium section where it's so tricky to keep that car planted in a straight line. But still, it being a tricky circuit is also a perfect place to prove yourself against the big dogs, the big drivers in this tier. And also just overall the weather conditions as well going to make it even harder around an already tricky circuit. So if you can perform well now, then what can you do for the rest of the season? It'll be exciting to see how they perform, how they get on. But overall, it should be a good race for them. I'm hoping for their sake that they maybe start off with at least a point this season. They finished the Grand Prix, so they'll build off from there. But it should be a very, very interesting thing to look at. And can they perform there at the top and maybe even take a surprise win in the rain here?
Well, we remember last season where a few people have joined mid-season and they surprised us in a good way. So we thought they were going to be lower down, and then they higher up and finish on the podium. So it's all about that consistency. So we'll see what they can do later on as well. And as Arnels is in 10th with Blind, haven't set a lap yet, so he has invalidated his lap time. So Samba, I'm surprised he hasn't set a lap yet at the moment, but I think he's just finding a little bit of his feet at the moment. He said he didn't really need a break going into this. He wanted to carry on his momentum. He's only doing a few hours of practice, and he's not revealing any secrets, and he's hoping for a podium every race as his main goal, and he doesn't want to wet Mexico. So I think for him, this could be a struggle, but you never know. Samba could pull it out of the bag. So let's ride on board with him as he makes his way towards the first few corners. This is where you really need the straight line speed coming through the exit of turn number 4 and 5. Very tight chicane at the start of sector 2. Pass in towards turn 7, slow left-hander. That leading to another fast left-hander coming towards turn 9 and 10. And this is a corner where it requires a lot of grip, actually. The S is very hard to negotiate through turn 11. Now heading towards the DRS straight of turn number 12. Cars will reach a speed up to 210 miles per hour before we reach that corner. Then turn 13, another short straight. That leading to another slow right-hander coming up in towards turn 14 and 15. Final corner lap, a slow right-hander coming up to the line he goes. And Nathan Samba slots himself into P2, a 1:15.634, already in the 1:15s. And I know there's a few drivers that can go even quicker. Nick's on the outlap right now, and as is a few other drivers as well. So they see what the likes of Ben and Samba can do. But let's watch my pick, Lakitu, as he makes his way towards turn number 1. He almost goes to the 1:14s in time trial, but there's certain drivers, Max, where we see them struggle in a lot of tracks, but there's always that one track where the drivers love, put in the most practice, and they love it from the start of the game, and they could just get it hooked in. So if they get a good result, this will probably continue to be one of their favourite tracks for them. But we'll see if Lakitu can score some decent points today.
Yeah, we can certainly see, of course, as a driver, there's always that one circuit which overall it suits your driving style to a T. So the key to, if he's his Mexico, it could be a really good point score for him today as he now heads down into turns 7 and 8. Sorry, 9 and 10, sorry, and now into 11 and, well, nicely done there from Lakitu. DRS Open as he now heads down into the stadium section. He's actually down by 1/10.5, so I wouldn't be surprised if he can't find any time in these next few corners. If he does abort this one here, Lakitu through 15 and now into the brakes for 16, which then leads you into 17. Does Lakitu come into the pit lane? No, he stays out, so might have found some time. The Aston Martin to the line. He did, but loses out to his previous lap time by 0.02 of a second. But yeah, your point about the circuits, Jess, it's so true about how you can really have one track that suits you, which you just enjoy the most. George going up to second, but it really, as a driver, it's the circuit you want to do the best at. The circuit that motivates you the most. You see it on the calendar and you're like, yes, that's the one. That's the circuit which I'm going to at least try get a podium at. Aiden now coming up to the line. He goes up into third place, and then Bryn, his teammate, just behind him in fifth. So Bryn actually there, Jess, could have actually been held up slightly by Aiden, being tucked into that dirty air because he was quite close to the back of his teammate.
Yes, and they were asked actually going into this weekend about the fact, they're going to be giving some slipstream to get that extra 10 because it is allowed. There are leagues where, I'm not going to name names, where they're not allowed, but Bryn was saying up to Aiden. So, and what Aiden was saying was he's not sure yet. So they're going to give it a go now, probably, most likely. But that, sometimes it could gain you time, sometimes it can lose you time. So basically, they're just going to play it by ear. I think that's what a lot of drivers are going to be doing. But the most important thing about this situation is communication. There's no point giving each other slipstream if you're not in a party together. So potentially, if someone is on a good lap, you don't want to compromise that. But maybe you have to time, because there are some occasions and some laps on the calendar, tracks on the calendar, sorry, where you do have time to give your teammate a slipstream. As Blind, by the way, slots himself into P9. But there's not many teams that have two teammates near each other to be able to do that. I can see the Alpines do it. I remember them doing it in Qatar. Oh, Bryn's out. Well,
he's crashed.
Bryn has crashed. So that goes my commentator's curse, Max.
I don't know what's happened there. I was quickly looking down and checking Discord, the Discord, but and also may I add, Jess, the Taz is up. I don't know if you know, but I have sorted it out.
I've got the dashboard, which I'll send a link to. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, it's all right. It's just that it looked like he's gone into the pit lane wall. By the way his car is stranded and the way his tyre is just off the car. So that's a very unusual one for Bryn, and a rookie error from him as well. Very unlike Bryn, who's been super consistent really so far this season, of course. Hasn't had the greatest of runs recently. I think it was last time out or the time before where he had a horrid afternoon of things and just wasn't really a race to remember for him. But for Bryn, that is really unfortunate for him. Down in 5th place and now on the chopping block, so maybe even drop down to the likes of 9th, maybe even 10th if Nick can find a big amount of time. So Bryn, he could have just shot himself in the foot here for the feature race.
Yeah, I think and Mexico is a hard place to overtake, especially in the wet conditions. They're going to be starting on heavy rain. The more spray you're going to get, the lower you get, the more spray you're going to get. So it's going to be unfortunate for Bryn. But there are certain drivers that have not got into the 115s yet. So you never know. He may still stay there and he may still potentially get a top 10 star. But surely he would have wanted higher, maybe to start ahead of the likes of Samba, Ben and his teammate. As speaking of Ben, he had a bit of a scrum heading towards the final corner and he has backed off his lap. So I wonder if he's going to go again very, very soon with 2 minutes and 50 seconds still to go, of course. George and Nate Clark were called into the rivalry, and they were asked how they were both feeling after the week break, what were their aims for the rest of the season going forward, and do you feel you can potentially sneak a top 5 place come the end of the season? Where's George? He's on an outlap, perfect. So he's had some illness recently, but it was his birthday last weekend, so happy birthday to you, George, for last weekend. So it hasn't been that bad. He wants to finish all the remaining races in the top 5, and he hopes that P4 could be on the cards if things go well. Well, he's had the pace in some races. He's won the sprints, so I can see his goals there. And Nate Clark's been ill for the last few weeks as well. How is it with people being ill recently? It's absolutely crazy. But he's hoping for a podium to come season ending and top 5s. And top 5 in the championship if everything goes well. Yes, he said. So both of them have similar goals, Max.
Yeah, they certainly do. So that's something to look out for, really, is if they are able to sort of uphold said goals in the championship. But overall, we're about to start the final runs of qualifying here this evening in Mexico. That's round the circuit. Autodromo Hermanas Rodriguez. As the key to is going to be the first driver to start the final runs of the session, braking at the 100-meter ball, getting the car down to 4th gear, nicely hitting that first apex, going a little bit wide on the exit of it, but through turns 2 and 3, bit of a slide on the exit of 3, not the greatest of runs, and he's actually aborted that one. There has the key to, did have the time in hand, and obviously hasn't taken up too much life out of those tyres, so the key to not happy with his opening 3 corners and has decided to abort. He will be able to go once more. I think next one to be on a lap is actually going to be George, of course, the man you were talking about in the interviews with the rivalry with Nate Clark. And George heading up into turn 4 now. He's down by 200ths in that first sector, but around a circuit like this, that is so easy to find once more as you now head into 6 and 7 and then straight back on the power. Going to go brake at the black box and then just flick the car through the S's. You've got to be so committed through here. Maybe a little lift if you want to, but no, George uber committed through the S section, keeping it his foot flat to the floor. He's up by just over half a tenth as you now enter the stadium section, arguably the section of the circuit where you can find the most time on your lap. It's so slow speed, a big slide as he exits the penultimate corner. But for George, what's it going to be as he heads up to the line, keeping it tight to that inside line? The Ferrari goes up into second place. A beautiful final sector there for George. Aiden now on his lap. He's up by a tenth and a half, and a big slide like George. That's surely going to cost him a lot more time than the Ferrari. He was nearly parallel to the circuit, but Aiden up to the line, and he loses all the time that he found. That could have put him on to provisional pole. Nathan Samba is on his lap. Is anyone else who's coming up to the line
Samba's
now?
2 times up.
J. Cole and Arnold goes up into 10th place. Nathan Samba nearly 3 attempts up on his lap. This is certainly going to be good enough for pole position if he's able to complete this one. To the line for Nathan Samba. Can he snatch it away?
Wow.
Yes, he can. A 15.299. Nathan Samba snatches that pole position away from Ben Mills' hands. Nick coming into the pit lane. Larkin, I think, has aborted his lap as well. No, he's still going for it slightly.
That's for 4th place.
Casper with a good lap there. And the Kitu managing to go back up into 5th place with a 15.724, and Larkin with a spin before the pit lane. So that's going to be the end of your qualifying here, Jess. But it's going to be another Ferrari-dominated session. And again, it's the man so much on forms this season. It's Nathan Samba.
I have to say, the Tifosi were very happy a couple of weeks ago when they saw their favourite driver, Samba, take the win in Monza last time out, and they're going to be very happy. Did George cross the line in third just then, or is it just me imagining things, or was he already third? I don't know, but both
already third.
Okay, so both Ferrari... he retired, that's probably right. But yeah, both Ferraris doing an incredible job as well. This is going to be looking very good for them in the Constructors. But don't forget, Samba is only a few points behind Aiden in the Drivers' Championship. So it is all to play for here. So let's look at your results from qualifying. We got Samba out there on top in first. Ben Mills in second. George in third. Casper in fourth. I have to say, Casper and Lakitu, my stars are qualifying so far with impressive lap times. Then we've got Aiden in sixth, Bryn in seventh, Links in eighth, Blind on his first ever One Hub Racing race in ninth, Arnold in 10th. We've got Nick in 11th, Konzo 12th, Lark in 13th, J. Cole 14th, Leroy 15th. And those are the ones who set lap times. And of course, we've had the two drivers who are serving their engine penalties of Nate Clark and Matter starting at the back. And just as predicted, obviously, we knew what the weather was going to be like. We have the adaptive weather system. It is chucking it down. But before we head to the main race action, let's have a quick run through of our sponsors. Of course, Next Level Racing sponsor the league by providing some prizes each season. I can actually show you the prizes. There we go. So these are what the drivers can win. An Next Level Racing cockpit for our drivers, champions, and top three there. There's a lot that these drivers can win there. Pure Sim Gear sponsors the league by providing one item for free from their store to the person who has the most combined poles and fastest laps. Aztec Sim Sport sponsors the league by providing merch to the winner of 100 Racing Driver Rankings. Vespa Team partner with Vespa Team, who supports our official apparel. Elite Racing Team ERT Esports partner the ERT Going Against Tough Award and lead trophies. Winner of Going Against Tough Award gets some ERT merch. And finally, powered by SingGrid, run our seasons through their community and platform. Now, I still went through sponsors and we haven't started yet, which is great news. So well done to all the drivers. And as you can see, it is chucking it down. And are we going to see another Samba win? Or is someone different going to pull it out of the bag tonight?
Oh, that's a tricky question to ask rhetorically. But it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, Samba on such great form this season and has just been sometimes in a league of his own. So for Nathan Samba, it's just going to be about getting on the podium, I think. I think he wants another win, but worst case scenario, just get another podium and carry on with your season. But we're about to get underway here, Jess, so take us away in the wet weather here.
Here we go, 5 red lights here at One Hub Racing, and it is green, green, green in Mexico. And Ben Mills and Samba had the equal start out of anybody so far, but watch out for P3 and 4. They're going to get a good toe in towards turn number 1. I'm going to keep my eye on George as he makes his way through there as well. And the spray is very difficult. So I think we could see, it's already a pile-up already, as a few cars have gone off. Both of the AlphaTauris, that is a story line to be told here. They're right at the back of the grid. But it's Nathan Samba out on top, Ben Mills in second, George trying to get past Casper. Casper was in third for a minute, but Casper defends to the inside. Unfortunately, George was able to get the move done there as well. Leroy has made the most positions. He's up to 11th. Matter and Nate Clark have made positions as well. So the pile-ups didn't seem to affect them that much. They make their way towards turn number 7 now with the standing water. But just look at the gap, Max, that Samba's pulling away from. 1.2 seconds. We said the song on pole was not the best idea. Samba probably took our advice to heart.
Yeah, Samba has absolutely flown away on this opening lap of the Grand Prix. A bit like Max Verstappen so far this season in real life, where by the end of the lap, he's already a second away, so there's no need for the DRS system. So for Samba, it's been an absolutely amazing opening lap to this Grand Prix, and for his championship rival, Aiden, it has been absolutely horrid. But we see here a 6-car battle over P12 here on the opening lap of the race. Bryn has managed to get past J. Cole around the outside. Aiden's going to try look look to do the same thing. He's going to pull to that inside line on the Alpine. There's a yellow flag behind. That's for Konzo, who spun on the exit of the final corner. Unfortunate there for the McLaren. But look at J. Cole's straight line speed compared to Aiden. He's managed to pull away from the AlphaTauri and nearly straight up to the back of the other one. But look, Aiden sending it late to the inside line. Can he also get Nath Clark as well? As contact made? And once again, at turn 1, Aiden caught up in an incident. That one wasn't his fault. Nath Clark came across. Lynx and Lakitu going side by side for P6 in this Grand Prix. Can Lakitu hold it round the outside now through turn 5? There's a little bit of contact made between the pair, but no, Lynx gets the move done on Lakitu. He manages to keep 6th place there, and further back Nick Larkin and Arnold all battling over 10th place as well. Can't forget Hayes Lager either. He's had a good start to life here. He's in the points at the moment. Of course, points down to 12th place. And for Hayes Lager, he'll be looking to score some here this evening. But back further up, Jess, he's gaining at 1.5 seconds a lap at this rate, you would think. Nathan Samba absolutely flying in this opening stint here, and it's only been 2 laps.
Absolutely crazy from Samba as he's going to cross the line, and he was 2 seconds a lap quicker the last lap, to put it into perspective. So Samba just did a 1:30.8. Ben Mills just did a 1:31.6. So yeah, it is around a second a lap. So your calculations are correct. As Leroy and Bryn going side by side then in towards the start finish straight. Who's going to have the edge here as Bryn is slowly making his way up through the field after trouble on lap 1. As he's going to be using the straight line speed to effect. But Leroy stays in 11th place for now. Nate Clark makes his first pit stop. Not what he wanted to do at this early stage, but it's still a long way to go in this race, so it is important that you don't give up, because if you finish, you'll get points anyway. So, here comes Bryn once again. He's going to challenge in towards turn number 4. Can he do it a bit late on the brakes from Bryn? But he got the car stopped just in time. A bit of contact, but no harm done. Bryn is up into 11th place. J. Cole, Aiden and Matt are fighting once again. Aiden's going to have the upper hand through turn 7, and he does get past Jaco up to 13th, so you can tell that the cornering speed is helping Aiden through these tricky parts, but on the straight, it's going to help Jaco a little bit. So watch out for later on in the race. The ones that have got a wet setup may struggle in the dry a little bit, but look at this. Ben Mills is under pressure from ERT George in the other Ferrari. We thought that he was able to close in on Nathan Samba, but he's not. He's under pressure from George as he makes his way towards the final corner.
Yeah, this could be crucial here for Ben Mills to drop behind not only one of the prancing horses, but the other one as well. Of course, Nathan Samba and George, the 2 stablemates at the Tifosi-based Ferrari outfit in Maranello. And for George, how he would love to get past a Williams in front. But at the moment, the current trend looks like a bit like the real-life Williams. It is a very slippery thing in a straight line. No pun intended with the weather. But yeah, for Ben Mills, he's able to defend with the straight line speed that he has with his Williams. Lynx and Blind going to go side by side. It's been a brilliant debut here for Blind so far. J. Cole into the pit lane for some intermediates. Blind has gained 3 places in this Grand Prix already, so started in 9th and he's already up to 6th, so a very good start to life here for the Hassman here in P1 at a very tricky circuit. Arnold and Nick going side by side, and the Aston Martin gets by through turn 5, and look who's already following him through. It's ERT Bryn, who has had amazing pace in this wet weather. If he was up at the front, could he be challenging Nathan Samba? We could only know as a what if, but for ERT Bryn, he's now up into 10th place, lap 4 of 36. And a lot of action has happened already, but Bryn now putting pressure on the Aston Martin of Arenado ahead, and he can maybe get past the Aston Martin within the next couple corners.
This is insane stuff for the midfield, isn't it? Like I was saying at the start of the stream, we have the 2 groups in the championship. We've got the ones fighting for the drivers, and then we got the ones fighting for like top 5s, top 10s, best of the rest. As you can see, Leroy trying to go around the outside of Aiden in towards the final corner, but he couldn't quite do it as well. This is where the straight line speed will help a little bit. Bryn does get past Arnold in towards turn number 1, but is Arnold going to have the DRS to good effect? He's hardly going to use any overtake, so he's going to try and use that to his advantage around the outside. Nope, he's not going to go for it here. He stays in 10th place, and Bryn is up into 9th spot for now. Now, we've seen in the other tiers, they've started to get into intermediate territories around about a couple of laps time, but the latest it sometimes can go out lap 11, lap 12. So it does depend on, obviously, the lobby, and it is set to approximate, so it's not going to be the same for every tier, because otherwise there will be drivers listening and watching to the other tiers and be like, oh, it's coming at this lap, so I'm going to stretch out my sim. But then, no, it's going to be different. You never know. It could be wet for most of the race and dry right at the end, and they'll have to go onto the soft tyre. So they got to play it by ear. They got to potentially change their setup so it suits them a little bit. And we're going to hope in the commentary box that we are going to predict the weather right as well. But it is hard to predict because we're not weather forecasters. That's why, obviously, we're in the commentary box. But we're about to start lap 6. Samba leads the field away by 4 seconds. George just about closing on Ben ever so slightly, but Ben has the straight line speed. Meanwhile, Bryn at the stadium section gets past Larkin up to 8th. Oh, he's not. He's almost hit the wall. That was close.
Oh, Bryn, that was very close for the AlphaTauri man to derail what has already been a very tricky evening. We're only on lap 6 of 36. He pulls out to disrupt the slipstream there. Aiden into the pit lane. I do think within the lap or so, it is intermediate conditions. But here comes Larkin, and here comes Arnaud in the Aston Martin. To the inside goes Arnaud, but not able to get the move done. Larkin to the inside of Bryn now through turn 2. Super close between the pair, but brilliant racing respect. Larkin going for the switch back through turn 3. Wasn't able to get the best traction he possibly could, but he's still got that straight line speed advantage over the AlphaTauri. Here comes Arnaud as well to the inside, but Bryn later on the brakes to the inside of Larkin. There's a little bit of contact made. Gonna try hold it around the outside. Arnaud could get the pair of them. Off goes Bryn. Through goes Arnaud to the inside now on Larkin and Bryn. It's 3 wide into the double right-hander.
Oh my God.
Who's gonna come out on top in this one? At the moment, it's looking like the Aston Martin. The Alpine of Larkin's fighting back. Bryn to the inside.
Oh,
There's contact made, and Bryn is sent into a spin. And oh, Bryn, the recovery drive was on, but I think that was a bit too opportunistic from him. But Arnaud did close the door quite aggressively, and I think we also saw a spin for Nick as well, or a yellow flag was around Nick's car. But unfortunate there for ERT Bryn. The recovery drive was on, and now his race has gone from bad to worse. And we're only on lap 7 of 36. He's been involved in 2 accidents, and both of them not really being his fault. But here we have the drivers in for the intermediates, first being George. Let's see how he can get an undercut on the likes of Ben Mills and Nathan Samba. But Aiden as well, as I said, also came in, and Arnaud, Larkin and Bryn all coming into the pit lane as well.
It is a bit of touch and go. It's a bit on the cusp right now, so they may be saying, oh, you're not sure what tyres to be on the best, but sometimes it's best always to pit the lap before. He would potentially say that. So you got to predict as well. Or there could be like a safety car potentially that could change things quite a bit here. But Bryn is in as well, and we'll see how much faster there is per lap. We will be able to tell by using TAS, the telemetry analysis system, which we commentators have access to and drivers have access to at the end of the race. And if we could see people setting purple sector 1s, we would then know that it's the best tyre to be on. So, but not quite yet, because they've literally just come out of the pit lane. Nate Clark has done exactly the same to what I did in my race. Forgot to change tyres, and he's on the full wet, and he's meant to go on to the intermediates. Oh, no. So he's already made one. Oh, he's already made one stop. Okay, he's already made one stop, so he had to pit quite early. Never mind. Nathan Samba comes into the pit lane. He goes on to intermediates as well. Ben stays out, which promotes Casper into P2. So some people think, yeah, it's the best time to be on those intermediates. And for some people, they think, no. Oh, that was close for Matta. That was very close. He almost got forced into the pit lane, but he thought that it wasn't the best time to be on. Nick's coming in. The Kitu's in. Lynx is in. Most people are in. And I'm just starting to see who is on the right decision right now. Fastest third sector belongs to George. And guess what? He's on the intermediates. So my suggestion is it's potentially the right time to go on to the intermediates, because I am seeing fastest first sectors from people who are on the intermediate tyres.
Yeah, we could maybe see that the intermediates come into play now. But what Ben Mills and Casper and Blind could do here, actually, Jess, is if the rain is there for another 5-10 minutes, try take those extreme wets all
It,
the way
it,
until the
it
dry.
is 2 stops, don't forget.
Oh yeah, it is 2 stops, isn't it? I forgot about the 2-stop
Yeah,
strategy.
so
Yeah.
ideally they have to come in for inches like soon and then wait to the dries.
Or if, as I say, if it's only 5 or 10 laps, they go on to a double soft strategy in that scenario.
Ben's not doing
Um,
that. He's coming
but
into the pit.
say everything I say here in commentary, no matter what league it is, I say something, everyone does the complete opposite. Blink, Casper,
So do
Ben coming
me.
into the pit lane. Yeah, it's just the commentator way, isn't it? You think one thing, the drivers just do another. But Hayes, Lager coming into the pit lane, everyone's going onto the intermediates. It's the right time, and I think Ben Mills has shot himself in the foot here because he's come out behind George. He might even, actually no, he's not going to come out behind Lynx, the next closest car on those intermediates. So he's still in third and in front of his teammate Matter. Casper versus Lynx, and Casper has come out well in front of the Alfa Romeo. It's going to be a good race here, actually, Jess, for Casper. In 5th place at the moment. Probably the best performance we've seen so far from him on lap 9 of 36. And in that top 5 will be 4th place once he's able to get past Matter as well. So maybe, if all luck goes his way, a podium could still be on the cards.
It could be for Casper, and I'm just trying to see what he put in his his pre-race interviews earlier, because I know he did put some stuff with the interviews, and he's done a couple of TT laps so far, and he hasn't done that much wet practice, but maybe he does have a setup which has a bit more higher downforce compared to other moments, so that's probably why he's doing very well, but we'll probably have to wait and see how he does in the dry. But he is closing in on Matter in those who is in the 4 wets. So Casper's definitely, anyone who's went onto the intermediate tyres has made the right decision. Even though there are puddles forming, you know, you're going to gain more time. And look at that, Samba on the intermediate tyres, 129.3. So if you haven't gone in yet, that is definitely a sign as well. And that is mega quick. We've got a Ferrari 1-2. 6 seconds is the gap. Matter's going to come into the pits now, but he's going to drop way down the field, unfortunately. And we got our first time penalty. That's one thing I forgot to say. Track limits can be a thing around here, and positions could be decided due to penalties.
Yeah, track limits are a very big thing around Mexico, but in the wet weather, it's not really too much of an issue because everyone's got to go so slowly into the corners and just try and make their way through the circuit as safely as possible. But in the dry, it can be a real killer on the track limits, can this circuit? But we'll just have to wait and see if anyone in that top 5, maybe even top 10, gets a penalty, and that could really shake up the order somewhat. But Ben Mills is closing into the back of George slightly here. This is where, if you have a dry setup, you're able to keep up somewhat with the drivers with a wet setup. The intermediates do somewhat like a mix of setups when it comes to these conditions and these tyres. So for Ben Mills, this is where he can somewhat start to make a bit of an improvement from those extreme wets, but it's so difficult to switch your mind onto a different compounder tyre, be it from intermediates to the dries or even the full wets to the intermediates, because they handle and behave so differently from one another that you got to really try to focus and get into that rhythm. Nathan Samba with a new fastest lap of 29.2. Ben, he the fastest lap. So I say Ben Mills can really start to switch things around. He set a faster lap than Nathan Samba by 1/10 of a second. And if he's able to just keep doing that, keep working his way through, by the end of the race, he should be a lot closer to Nathan Samba. And if we do get to the dry very shortly, then he can start to make some serious inroads on your race leader. But we'll have to wait and see. He's below 1/10 on George in front. So he's got, if it was dry, he would be within the DRS range, but he's not. So he's going to have to do a bit more work than what he usually would have hoped for and just try and catch up to that Ferrari once more. But Ben really is starting to push those intermediates to the limit, and I think he is going to be the quickest driver on the circuit for many a lap to come.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of drivers that will be looking at potential Ben's lap time, and sometimes There could be a driver that loves the inters but hates the full wets. I'm the same. I love the inters on this game, but absolutely hate the full wets. And Ben seems very much in tuned as well. But you can see Samba purple in the middle sector, so he is finding some time there as well. And we'll see if Ben can close a bit on Samba, but it may be obviously a bit little too late, like you were saying there as well. So I'm predicting, according to Taz, we've got a bit of the weather prediction coming up. So light rain is meant to stay until pretty much the end of the race, but you never know with the F1 23 game. It can absolutely change. The track temperature has raised ever so slightly from 23 degrees to 24 degrees, so they may find it a bit easier for these drivers to drive as well. One thing to keep an eye on now, we've seen this before, the two AlphaTauris are going head-to-head, as well as Larkin. Nick's going to try and catch up as well, but at the moment, we'll see if Aiden can get past Larkin in towards turn number 1, and maybe Bryn could follow Aiden along and tag them and use a bit of a slipstream. So here they go then, on lap 12 of 36. Larkin is defending like a madman right now. He's doing very well in 9th position, and the AlphaTauris pretty much not what they want to be, but they had an incident in lap 1. And it could have been a lot higher. They could have been fine with the likes of Samba and George and Ben potentially and Casper as they make their way towards turn number 4. Now we got Aiden, which is right on the gearbox of Larkin. They can't afford to make any mistakes. I won't be surprised if any of them go 3 wide. These 3 are keeping squabbling, and that's allowing Arnold in front just to pull away ever so slightly. And you definitely do not want to do that.
Yeah, you definitely don't, and are now getting away up in 8th place. But look at Larkin, he's so much slower than the two AlphaTauris. This could be where Aiden gets him, though, if he gets a good run out of the S section into the stadium section. Now he's going to look to the outside line on the curb, not really where you want to be on the wet weather on the brakes, but he's going to look to the inside now of Larkin. There's a little room, there's a little door open. Ben Mills has managed to get past George down that main straight. A nice easy move from the Williams as well, but Aiden still having to sit behind the Alpine here, and he's not going to be able to get by down that main straight. Even Bryn could now form an attack on his teammate. We're going to maybe see the two AlphaTauris, an AlphaTauri civil war here, heading down this main straight. Could it be Aiden getting past Larkin? The Alpine's pulling away. Will Bryn decide to go for a lunge and decide, I'm going to do this myself and get in front? No, he will not, and he will just sit behind his teammate heading down into turn 1. But look at the grip they have through the corners. Aiden pushing Larkin through that opening chicane. Bryn is all over the back of his teammate as well, though, so he's got to look out from behind as Aiden, but he's going to look to the outside line. He can go much later on the brakes. Can Aiden round the outside or be the inside for turn 5? Could Bryn maybe get the switch back on Larkin as well as they exit out of turn 5 now? It's Aiden in front of Larkin. The Alpine in an AlphaTauri sandwich at the moment. He's got Bryn now all over the back of him, pressuring him to the absolute limit, and Larkin keeping his cool. Bryn now with a 3-second time penalty. That's crucial for his race. AlphaTauri's day is going from bad to worse, not only getting held up by Larkin, but now a penalty, and Samba with a new fastest lap of the Grand Prix.
And Tamba's day is going from good to even better, and then Ben is like, no thank you, I'm getting that fastest lap. So 2 of them are very similar on pace on these intermediate tyres. I wonder how that's going to come into effect when we head to the dry conditions a little bit later on. So Ben and Samba are trading like, no, you have fastest lap. No, you have fastest lap. It's kind of like that mentality, even though they both want to get that extra point because it is worth 2 points, the fastest lap. Larkin's going to go for a run once again on the AlphaTauri. He does know that Bryn has got a penalty, but Larkin to the right-hand side of our screen gets past Bryn up into P10, but we do know Bryn's going to have the DRS in towards turn 3 and 4, so we'll keep an eye on him very, very soon as well. So here they go, past turn 2, almost going off the track there. Can Bryn use his straight line speed to his advantage once again? Through turn 4, is he going to go late on the brakes? He's going to try and send it up the inside. Larkin closes the door. Bryn has a bit of a tag of oversteer, but Larkin's like, you're not getting past me, sunshine. But Bryn's like, no, I want to try and get that switch back. They're still going side by side once again as they make their way towards turn 8 and 9. They're not giving up. They don't want to give up, but none of them want to give contact with each other. How are they still not making contact? This is insane racing between the 2 of them. Bryn is ahead of Larkin, but That was incredible between the two of them. Great job.
Yeah, brilliant racing respect between the pair, between Bryn and Larkin there. Couldn't really ask for anything better from them. So, really, that was brilliant racing from Bryn and Larkin. And Bryn coming out on top, but does have that 3-second time penalty. But the pace he was showing over Larkin will probably be able to pull away that from Larkin and build that gap up to 3 seconds and at least get P10 in this Grand Prix. We're on that 15 of 36. We've really just not even hit the halfway mark yet in this Grand Prix, so still a long way to go here in Mexico, and so much has already happened, but now the field is somewhat spread out now. No one really close enough for any battles, except from if you're behind Nick with Hazelager and Mata. Other than that, really no real battles going on. Ben Mills and Nathan Samba, that gap keeps flickering between 8.9 and 9 seconds. George has fallen off the back of Ben Mills as well, so we could maybe see these drivers just somewhat sit into their own races, try catch up to the car in front. Nave Clark going to go for a move on J. Cole as they head up into turns 4 and 5. The Alfa Romeo looking for a move on the Alpine, going to go round the outside, late on the brakes. Is he going to be able to pull this one off? Uses a bit of throttle application round the outside, and there goes Nave Clark up into 15th. A brilliant move from him, and of course, a man who's been so unlucky this season, Nave Clark. Nearly got the podium last time out in Monza, but then crashed, and unfortunately it was ended up his teammate Lynx ending up getting his first podium of the season, whereas Nave Clark still without a podium, not looking likely to get one here this evening. And also, Jess, props to the drivers as well. 16 laps in very tricky conditions on a tricky circuit, and still no retirements here this evening.
You probably jinxed it now, Max. We probably will get one retirement round about right now, so I'm going to contradict that jinx. So hopefully we'll be fine with that one. No, I just said hopefully we'll be fine. Oh no, let's pretend I said nothing. But it is great to see how they're handling these intermediate conditions, and a lot of the drivers have not put a foot wrong in this Grand Prix. Positions gained so far from the drivers, well, it's either been 2 or 3 positions gained from a lot of them, but biggest gainer has got to be Linked up 3 places. And the biggest losers, Aiden and Bryn down 3, Konzo down 5. A race to forget for him, but he is chasing down J. Cole, so at least he's going to be having a little bit of a battle in this Grand Prix as we are approaching half race distance. If you haven't already, make sure you leave us a like on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and hit that bell if you are new for more One Hub Racing content, as Nathan Samba gets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix once again. So it doesn't matter potentially when Samba pits. He could potentially pit and have a decent gap blind, get his first 3-second time penalty of the evening. Let's see if anyone is in danger of getting penalties. Nathan Samba is on 1 warning. We've got Ben Mills on no warnings at all, so he's squeaky clean. George's on 2 warnings, so he's almost on a penalty. So is Casper. Lakiti's also on 2 warnings. Arnell's on 1 warning. Bryn's on 5 warnings. Clark is on 2 warnings. So is, I think, Leroy. And there's quite a few people just on 1. So there's a few drivers we've got to keep an eye on to make sure they don't get any more warnings, because otherwise a penalty could come their way. And we've seen in the tier I was racing in, we only had 1 VSC. That was it. We had no safety car. And if there's no safety car in this race, I think that's what they're going to be hoping for at this point, because otherwise it's going to bunch the field close together and they're just going to drop way down to the back of the grid, so they do not want to get these time penalties. But these drivers will have to stop one more time.
Yeah, they all certainly do, but will they? Will the track dry out? Of course, Taz says that it's still going to be light rain to the end of the Grand Prix, but it's, as you say, it's the F1 game. You can't really trust it too much. Or will it just stay like this till the end of the race? You've really got to make your pit stop late here this evening and sort of see how the track conditions play out. So it's going to be all about this strategy now, especially if you're in the mid-pack. Aiden all over the back of Arnold now. He's really caught up to the back of that Aston Martin. Hazelager has got a 3-second time penalty as well. This train behind Larkin growing and growing ever more as each lap ticks by, as Larkin really struggling in these conditions to really find any pace out of that Alpine. He's got no confidence on the power, it seems. and he's now got Nick all over the back of him. So the Mercedes exits that final corner behind the Alpine. Larkin, though, look at that straight line speed from the Alpine. Really able to find a good run of form, but that slipstream now and the battery for Nick as Arnold and Aiden going to go side by side into turn 2. He's managed to get the move done, has Aiden. Nick looking to the inside line, not able to get the move done on the Alpine this time around, and this train just following through a procession through that first opening 3 corners. As you're now back on the power, I don't think Nick is going to be able to get close enough as they head up into turn 18. And for Nick, he's having to sit behind Larkin once more. But the Alpine really is struggling here this evening. Look how much the Mercedes catches up to the back of him. But Larkin really struggling. I think he's just trying to hold on for points. But it's going to be a long, long race for him because he's still got another 27 laps in this Grand Prix to go. We could maybe even see some drivers get lapped because Nathan Samba is miles out in front here this evening.
Yeah, I almost got lapped in my race a moment ago. It just goes to show how bad my race has gone. So yeah, I will not be surprised if the ones lower down could get lapped unless we get a potential safety car as well. And I'm just looking at the fuel usage as well. Ben has gained a lot of fuel during this wet period. He started on, I think, on 0 point something. Now he's on 2.07. Samba's pretty much remained the same. As you can see, Nick trying to defend from Mata in behind as well. Don't forget, these two commentated together just a moment ago in the P3 tier, and they're fighting with each other in the P1 tier. And now we got Mata fighting with Leroy Hasselhagen once again in towards T1 as well. And these are for the last of the points-paying positions. Mata tries to go to the inside of Nick. Nick gets the switch back. A bit of contact made by the both of them through turn 3, bit of a squirm from Nick. That's going to allow Mata to have the upper hand here. Through he goes, up towards turn 4 and 5, and I think he's got the job done. Yes, he has. Mata up to 12, yellow flag. That is J. Cole, and no, it's Konzo. Konzo's had a moment through turn 1. His day has gone from bad to worse for the McLaren driver, and it's not going to be good at all. George has had a bit of oversteer in towards the final few corners too, but I don't think that's lost him a chunk of time. He's still comfortably in third position as well. And, well, I'm just trying to see how this... No, it's still a little bit of rain coming up at the moment. Track temperature hasn't rose as much as we would expect, but we are seeing a lot of VRS being used up more than normal.
Yeah, we certainly are, so we'll have to wait and see how everything plays out. Lap 20 of 36 now, and overall this race just really starting to heat up, and it's going to be now just a race of mattering where to survive. As I say, the strategy on the tyre front, will it get to dry? I don't think it will at this stage in the Grand Prix. So it's now just about managing those intermediates until your pit stop phase. A bit like what you would do in the dry when you start on either the medium, soft, or even hards, where you just save that tyre all the way to the end of your stint and then you go all guns blazing. But a lot of these drivers can't do that, so we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. Mata all over the back of Larkin as we now head up into turn 4. He's not getting close enough for a move. Bryn managed to get past Arnold, and now he's hunting down his teammate, who is hunting down Blind in front. So for Blind, it's been a very, very good opening race for him in the championship, of course. Got that 3-second time penalty, unfortunately. That could drop him down a few places, but still a strong showing from him, and certainly can be something he can build off later off on this season. Aiden all over the back of Blind as we now head into the stadium section once more, and the Alpha Tower close as we head now past the Ferro de Sol and into the penultimate corner. A big slide from Aiden on the brakes. Is he going to be able to get the run on Blind? But no, he's had another big slide on the final corner, but so has the Haas as well. This could allow Aiden to capitalise as we now head down that main straight. He's tucked into that slipstream. He's used a bit of battery. I just don't think he's going to get close enough with the slipstream to go for a move to the inside. He's looking for it. He is going to go for one, but no, just not close enough there is Aiden. Still sitting behind the Haas, and we'll see if he's going to be able to make the move now up into turn turn 4, get a good run out of turn 3, and Aiden using a bit more battery in that slipstream, but no, he's just not going to get close enough, and Aiden having to sit behind blind once more, and it's really a story of what could have been for the AlphaTauris, because they've had so much pace, Jess, but just had such poor luck at the opening parts of this Grand Prix.
Yes, I think what you were going to say is what could have been for the two AlphaTauris. They're just giving it their all, but they just can't seem to pass drivers who you would expect, if you pass them, to increase the gap a little bit. And it's just about managing that pace and managing the scenarios that is going on in front of them. And Blind is keeping it clean, and he definitely has the right to be there. He's doing so well to defend from quicker drivers. And I have to say, I've been very impressed with him so far. And he could be one of the contenders for driver of the day. We never know. But we haven't seen what he's like in the dry conditions later on. Obviously, we had a dry qualifying. We're going to have dry qualifyings for the rest of the season. But we haven't seen what he's like in race trim in the dry yet. So we'll see what he could do soon. Spray is coming up again from the cars. So here comes Aiden. He's going to try now. And I think Bryn is going to follow through. So we'll keep an eye on him too. As Bryn's going to try and get some slipstream from Aiden, bearing in mind there are time penalties. Bryn goes to the outside, and that was late on the brakes, and I don't think Blind fought with that. So Aiden is up into 7th place. Bryn has got to try and do exactly the same, but look, Blind is not going to give up without a fight, as all three of them are within touching distance. It could be 3 wide once again. Blind to the inside. Oh, he's got a bit of an oversteered there as a bit of a wheel spin, which could allow Bryn to get past them as well. Hopefully, Blind doesn't shut the door too much. I don't think he does, but that's allowing Aiden to close to increase the gap a little bit more. But Bryn is just eager to get past. He's going to think about going right in towards the S's. This is very hard to get a move if you see fit, but I think Bryn really, really nicely, I think, backs off of this one. We could get him down this back straight. You can see that there's hardly any ERS between the pair of them. If you look on Taz to the right-hand side to the stadium section, Bryn does get past and up into 8th. Eventually, the two AlphaTauris get ahead of the Hasses.
Yeah, really nicely done there from Bryn to finally get past Blind there, but really it took him longer than probably what he would have expected after seeing Aiden get by. And has the rain stopped? Yes, it has. The rain has stopped here in Mexico, so we could maybe see a set of the soft tyres coming out at the later stage of this Grand Prix. Ben Mills has dropped 10.4 seconds back, so he weren't really able to keep up that pace with Nathan Samba, and Nathan is getting ever closer to Konzo as laps tick by, but we could maybe see a trip to the dry tyres if the track is able to dry up enough. It maybe will, because we do have enough time remaining in this Grand Prix. Still another 13 laps to go here in Mexico. And for the drivers, it's now all about managing your tyres and pitting at the perfect time. You can already see a dry line starting to form. So I would say give it another 3 or 4 laps, maybe 5 at a push. And we could see those soft or maybe even medium tyres come out to play.
I think
have a go around this Mexico circuit. It could be the softs, but tyre wear is quite high around here, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see a medium. But I would say, scrap what I've just said, I would say maybe within the next 2 laps we could see
I think they could pit now.
Tyres come out.
Maybe next lap. Maybe next lap. I've seen...
It's drying up rapidly.
Yeah, it's drying rapidly. I've seen that in P3 tier. You can see the dry line already forming. I won't be surprised if DRS gets enabled this lap as well. And we will keep an eye on Taz to see when it changes to clear dry, because that's where we get the true indication. Samba could decide when he pits, because to be honest, it doesn't matter when he pits, he's going to have a gap anyway. But we'll keep an eye on what Ben, George, Casper, Lynx does. Lynx has had a good race so far as well, but if anyone makes a really bad mistake, then that's race over. That is race over for them. We've had no safety cars as well. So some of them... And J. Cole's made the gamble first. J. Cole has made the gamble first. He's coming into the pit lane, and he's going to go on to mediums, I would expect. Yes, mediums is probably the right tyre to be on right now. Kondo is doing it too. Why not? You're at the back. You've got nothing to lose. And we're seeing Samba coming in too. DRS enabled. I called it. I 100% called it. There was going to be enough for mediums this lap. Surely medium's going to be the tyre to be on right now. Samba's coming. Ben's going to come in. If you do not come in this lap, you're going to lose time. And the Ferraris are just going to have enough to just double sap right now.
Yeah, it's all come down to this, and it's going to help hurt Bryn massively in this pit stop phase. The track was drying up absolutely rapidly at a rate of knots here in Mexico. And as you can see, George onto a set of soft tyres here. I think that's a bit too early for those. But Bryn is trying just to build a little bit of a gap so he don't get held up by his teammate. And that's nearly blind into the back of him. Everyone filing into the pit lane. Look how dry it has got now. If you go on board with Nathan Samba, there's literally hardly even any puddles on the road. That's how quickly it's dried out. And a few laps ago, this was nearly like a swimming pool, this first sector. So Konzo and Jacob have been unlapped. Sorry, they weren't even lapped in the first place. They were nearly lapped. But for Nathan Samba, Ben Mills, George, Casper, everybody else, it's now just push these tyres to the absolute limit to the end of the Grand Prix and see what you could do. Will Nathan Samba be able to hold on to that 12-second gap, or will Ben Mills shrink it down slightly at least to show he had that pace in the dry? And if it came a little bit earlier, he could have done something more. We'll have to wait and see, though. But for the Ferrari man up in front, it is surely going to be his day. But for George behind, he's going to probably get third place. But Bryn has managed to get past Arnold as they head up into turn 4. Bryn, of course, held up slightly in that double stack and now needs to work his way not only back past Arnold, but also blind as well. And he's lost an abundance of time to his teammate up in front.
It's just gone dry so quickly. A few laps ago, it was very, very damp and there was still quite a few spraying. And now it's just like, it looks like it hasn't rained. And on Taz, it says the weather went from light rain to overcast. So it's completely dry now. Now, I don't understand why some people are going on to softs. I don't think personally it's going to get to the end. So we are going to keep an eye on those soft runners to see if they can do so. But the ones on the mediums, they should definitely be fine. They should definitely get to the end, no problem. So we'll keep an eye on, obviously, the tyre wear. There's not much difference currently, but you can see George pushing a little bit more than Casper right now on the rears. Casper does have a little bit of his rears to hold into fruition right now, as on lap 26 of 36 right now. Samba leads, and he's setting the fastest lap of the race so far, 127.3. That we got J. Cole as one of the first to go on to the dries, and he just set the fastest lap of the race, 121 flat. But I would expect for drivers to go incredibly quicker after that. Don't forget, top 12 get points, and then if you finish, you get points as well. And there we go, Samba, fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Game on, said Samba. I think after this, Samba will be taking the lead of the championship because that Aiden's race has not come into full force, unfortunately, whereas Samba's, he's going to increase the gap massively after tonight.
Yeah, he certainly is. Nathan Samba, it's just been an absolute masterclass from him here this evening. Casper, with a fastest lap of the Grand Prix on those soft tyres, they probably will be the tyres you want to be on if you want to set that fastest lap and get that extra point. But still, everybody's still in this Grand Prix. And for Konzo and J. Cole, I highly respect it being so far off the back of the field, especially Konzo, nearly being a lap down and still cracking on. Of course, you still get that point for finishing in the race. So for Konzo and J. Cole, my highest respect goes out to them. They've Clark now setting the fastest lap. Look how quickly this track is getting quicker and quicker. And look at the sky as well. It's getting a lot more sunnier here in Mexico, and the weather has changed so quickly. And lap 27 of 36 now. It's going to be interesting to see what will happen in the remainder of this race. Ben Mills not really finding any time on Nathan Samba in front of him, but is George, could he catch up to Ben Mills and maybe bring that Tifosi, that Ferrari 1-2 back on the cards once more? It's been a really good race here from George. He's had his spells as the Ferrari man, but this race surely got to be one of his best. So for George, he's just happy to sit there in third place at the moment, but he would love to catch up to Ben Mills. I just don't think it will happen with the straight line speed of the Williams man. But overall, it's been a very entertaining Grand Prix, and we've still got another 8 laps to go here before the end of it, as Nave Clark able to get past Mata. He's now chasing down Larkin, who hopefully now on those drives will have a bit more confidence and won't be struggling as much here in Mexico. And as he now heads through the final corner of the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, he goes on to his start of lap 28, while Nathan Samba is nearly about to finish his lap 28. So it just shows how far out in front Nathan Samba is, that you can actually see Konzo from the Ferrari's point of view.
Konzo's about to get lapped, so you did say that there could be potentially a few drivers being lapped this evening. Unfortunately, Konzo is going to be one of them. But look at this. Nate Clark, is he going to go to the inside of turn number 4 and 5? We'll see what he could do. Late lunge once again, but leaves the door open, both drivers as well. Switchback goes Nate Clark. Nate Clark saying, no locking, you're having none of that. Through turn 7 and 8, the double-hander, he comes as well. Libo gets a time penalty behind, but what a great move from Nate Clark. He's trying to pretty much get rid of the deficit that he has with that penalty that he's got. It's allowing Larkin and Matt just to follow right through as well. Matt is having a nice recovery as well, but surely he would have wanted to get something higher this weekend. And I'm just looking at the tyre wear from the other drivers. We're seeing, to be honest, there's not much of a difference between the hards, the mediums and the softs. We're seeing George is around 15-14% on the front. Ben and Nathan are on 12-13%. So it's not much for a deficit, really, to be honest. You can go on any tyre. It's just about the lifespan near the end of the Grand Prix as well. It's about 0.4 per second. It's just managing that pace towards the end of the Grand Prix. And if we get a safety car, they can go onto some fresh rubber and they'll be absolutely fine. But they're not increasing the gap that much like they thought they would. So it just goes to show how quick these top two are. And they could be the ones fighting for the championship if others struggle a little bit. But we are now approaching, well, we are just approached lap 30 of 36. And I'm just looking at Aiden. Aiden is struggling. And the main reason why he's struggling, I'm looking on his tabs right now. He's got 16% floor damage and 5% side pod damage. No wonder he's struggling on in those S's.
Yeah, that could be why he might not have made as much progress as what we saw his teammate Bryn do in those opening stages of the race, because of course he's now going to be struggling a lot more in these conditions than he was in the wet. Of course, the wet, you can somewhat negate those draggier areas because you need that bit more drag. So now in the dry, he's going to be feeling that pain so much, and that's obviously off that first lap contact. Where he's gained all that damage and maybe a little bit more contact as he's trying to make his way up through the field. Bryn is now all over the back of Blind as we head down into turns 1, 2 and 3. Blind has had a shocking turn number 2. He's gone too far wide on the entrance there. This could allow Bryn to get that DRS up into turn 4 and get the move done. Is he going to be able to? Is he going to be late on the brakes around the outside? George picks up a 3-second time penalty, but look at Bryn round the outside, super late on the brakes from the AlphaTauri man. Blind goes wide. Is he going to be able to get the move done though, Bryn? He hugs it tight to the inside line, gets pinched by the Haas man, but Blind having to able to keep the position. Bryn having to relinquish the move up the inside, and the Haas man stays in 8th place. Bryn in 9th. Arnaud is 3 seconds behind, so he's on the cusp of jumping Bryn or Blind or not. And Ben Mills has actually brought that gap down to 10 seconds. So in these conditions, Ben Mills absolutely flying, and certainly in a position he would have wanted to be in for the whole Grand Prix, because his car really is suiting these conditions. As Nate Clark getting past the matter into the stadium section, nicely done by the Alfa Romeo man, as Nathan Samba is super close to lapping Konzo. I don't know if he will, but if he does, for Konzo, it would be such a shame after sticking in this race for so long to end the race a lap down, as Bryn able to get past Blind to the inside through turn 1 with that DRS. Nicely done by the AlphaTauri man, but Blind still in a very good position in this race as Mata gets past Nate Clark as well.
We are starting to see certain drivers struggling for fuel, and I think Nate Clark was one of them, and Arnold minus 0.10, minus 1.05, so they got to do a bit of fuel saving. Kondo is out of the race, and unfortunately it's given up, which is a bit of a shame, because points you get points if you finish. So he's going to be the only one not to get points in this Grand Prix. And even if you're like almost about to get lapped, just keep going, because you never know what could happen. To be honest, I almost had the cusp of giving up. But to be honest, when I knew that points was on the table, I was just like, let's carry on to the end of this Grand Prix and we'll see what they can do. But yeah, we're down to 16 runners, unfortunately, as Lynx gets past Casper in towards turn number 1. Nicely done from the Sauber driver. And this is definitely one of his best performances so far. Had a bit of wheel spin once again. This will allow Casper to attack once more. And I wonder if Casper is doing a bit of fuel saving, because we haven't had any safety cars so far. Whereas Lynx has got a little bit more fuel to use. He's on 0.57 as yellow flags are for the retired car of Konzo. So hopefully that will be getting rid of very, very shortly. It does take a while though. But these two having a bit of a ding-dong fight, the ERT teammates, and they're doing a pretty decent job. And I think that probably means that the softs are starting to wear out a little bit more than the mediums that are just still at good temperature and good operating window currently.
Yeah, they certainly are. But Jess, look at how that Monza race has just ignited a spark in Lynx. Of course, got third place in Monza after penalties, and now he's trying to hunt down George. That gap is 3.2 seconds between George and Lynx as we head on to lap 33 of 36. Lynx has 4 laps to try and hunt down George to at least get within that 3 seconds, which he has now, or even, at best, get that third place on the road. So even if George can get that penalty taken away, he can't. There's a yellow flag, and that is for, I think, Nave Clark. I think he's had a moment, and he's now dropped behind Larkin after battling with Mata. So for Nave Clark, down to 13th place and now out of the points. As now actually we see a switch between the two AlphaTauris. Those soft tyres certainly have hit the cliff for these drivers. It was too early to go on for them. A high tyre wear circuit. And of course, you're paying the price now in these later laps in this Grand Prix. Go for the early benefit, but it's not really worked in their favour. But have I disconnected?
No.
Okay, I just had a mad lag spike in the game. That's why I was stuttering so much there. But yeah, those soft tyres, the drivers really have paid the price now late on. And yeah, unfortunate for the likes of Aiden, Casper. They were on for good results, but those soft tyres fading slightly and dropping them down a place.
Yeah, which is a shame, of course. It's always good to take a little bit of a gamble sometimes, because you never know if it will pay off. But it is a shame if that gamble does not come into fruition. But at least they know when they do a race there again, not to potentially go on to softs until a little bit later on in the Grand Prix, maybe lap 27 or 28. But fair play to them for giving them a good go, as Nate Clark gets that penalty, so drops him down even more in the running order so far, as Nick does get past Nate Clark up to 13th. And please don't tell me that Nate Clark is going to retire for the Grand Prix. Just don't, because you're going to get good points. Or is he going to go the fastest lap? Why not? You've got nothing to lose. You're going to opportunity to get points for finishing the race, plus points for fastest lap outside the top 10. So here he goes then. And he's going to try and see if he can get that fastest lap. We are keeping our fingers crossed that he can try and get those 2 extra points. I think Leroy's potentially doing the same thing. Yes, he is. He's like, nope, I'm going to try and get that fastest lap from you, Missy. So those two are going to try and get those 2 extra points so far. But Lynx has found some more time, this time on George. He could be on for a podium once again. This could be the momentum, like you were saying, as he was looking for. To the inside, here comes Lynx. This is going to be great for him. He wants to get it on the road. And Larkin gets a penalty, but Lynx is up to 3rd. Surely one of our drivers of the days. Surely after this performance, he's driven amazing.
Yeah, he really has driven really well, as Lynx, where he started from 8th place on the grid, and he's now up into 3rd. And he's really worked well here, has the Alfa Romeo.
2 tenths off the leaders as well, pace-wise.
Yeah, he's been really strong, Lynx, here this evening. So again, it's another story of what these drivers could have done if the race was dry the whole way, because we could have had a closer fight for the lead. We could even have the top 3 now battling for the lead, but it's really unfortunate for George as well, who was looking so certain for a 3rd place, but getting that penalty and also going for the soft tyre gamble has not worked in his favour. But now, starting the final lap, is that man in the prancing horse, the Scarlet Red Ferrari, Nathan Samba. He's taken 4 wins this season, and he's actually having to lift and coast, so he's not comfortable with the fuel here, Nathan Samba. Of course, we've had fuel drama in the past here in the P1
He's
tier,
still in the plus.
Last season. He's still in the plus, but he's very, very close to running out of fuel. And look at him. He's lifting and coasting big time into turns 4 and 5. Of course, as I was saying, we've had fuel drama here in P1 tier. Of course, with last season in Qatar. That was a big...
No, it wasn't Jaco. It was Posh Evans.
Yeah, Posh Evans. Oh, yeah, and then Jaco capitalised off that to win the race.
Yes, that was the case.
Samba, I think he is just going to make this one to the line because he is lifting and coasting like mad. Oh, he's going to make it to the line because that means he's got exactly enough fuel to make it there. So for Nathan Samba, heading through the stadium section now, he's had 4 previous wins in a row this season. He's going to make it the Furious 5. Nathan Samba heading up to the line. Nate Clark gets the fastest lap, but Nathan Samba wins here in Mexico. It's the Furious 5 for the Ferrari man. And for Nathan Samba, a brilliant performance from him. Led from the start and never looked back. Ben Mills finishes off in 2nd. And for the battle for 3rd, it will be the Alfa Romeo man to pick up his 2nd podium in a row. His 2nd podium of the season. Lynx comes across the line to get 3rd place. A brilliant drive as well from the Alfa Romeo as Casper finishes in 4th with George in 5th. Casper with arguably his best performance of the season so far. But wow, what a race that was. The Keto will end up 6th. Then it will be Aiden. And then finally Bryn, Blind, Arnold, Mata and Larkin, you would think, to round out your point scorers. But Jess, what a race that was. But for Nathan Samba, as soon as he got past turn 1, he just looked certain for winning the whole thing.
He pretty much led from lights to flag. And he was so close to getting a penalty, but he didn't. He kept it clean throughout as well. He knew how much this championship is going to mean to him as well. And he's going to be now taking the championship lead. Aiden has been leading the championship since day 1. And now, due to Aiden not having the best at races, well, he would say P7, but surely he would have wanted a podium or win. That's going to hurt him a little bit. Could this be the race where the championship is won or lost? We'll have to wait and see. We still got 4 more rounds to go after this one. We've got the likes of Jeddah, Baku, Canada, and finally ending the season at Abu Dhabi. I think it is Nathan Samba's to lose. And if he does win the championship, it will be very well deserved. As we will go for your order in just a moment. Has the Belgian flag. Reign supreme here at Mexico. And your top 2, quite familiar, but Lynx, definitely my driver of the day. Getting that podium, P3 after starting 8. I'm going to get my question right off the bat straight away. My question for Lynx is, did you think that Monza was the start of your brilliant form? Because your performance today was incredible. Are you able to keep this form up for the rest of the season? And Max, who's your driver of the day? And who would you like to ask him?
I'm going to go for Nathan Samba after that drive, and I'm going to ask him, coming into today's event, did you think that you would dominate such a tricky race as much as you did?
So those are our questions. You can vote on the poll very, very soon, probably tomorrow. But let's run through your results then. Samba, like we were saying, wins from Ben Mills, from Lynx, from Casper, from George, from Lakitu, from Aiden, Bryn, Blind, Matter, your top 10. And we got Arnold, Nick, your final point scorers. But we have Larkin and Jaco, Nate Clark, who will get the 2 points of fastest lap, and Leroy for finishing. Your only retirement is Konzo. that we'll go through our sponsors in just a moment. Thank you to our sponsors, Next Level Racing, for sponsoring the league by providing some great cockpit prizes. Pure Sim Gear sponsors the league by providing one item for free from their store to the person who has the most combined poles and fastest laps. Aztec Sim Sports sponsors the league by providing a cap to the winner of One Hub Racing Driver Rankings. Vespertine, partner with Vespertine, who supports our official apparel. And Elite Racing Team, partner the ELT Going, gets Tough Award and League trophies, and they get some ELT merch as well. And powered by SingGrid from our seasons through their community and platform. Any final thoughts before we head to, it's going to be Jeddah next week, a track where it is so much fun to commentate, and it's going to be on the 24th of March. My dinner, by the way, is almost here, which is great timing. But what do you think about Jeddah heading into next week?
It's going to be interesting to see, a very tricky circuit, and it's going to be fun one to watch. Of course, the fastest street circuit on the F1 calendar, and overall it's just going to be so exciting to watch. Will Nathan Samba be able to make it 6 in a row, or will we get another winner? We'll have to wait and see. Could Lynx maybe finally turn those 2 podiums into a race victory? We'll just have to wait and see. It's going to be such an interesting race, a tricky circuit. Driver's got to keep it out the walls, and next week should surely be a very exciting one.
Yep, so make sure you join us same time, 8 PM UK time. We will be on YouTube for that one. Make sure you check out all the other tiers that are streamed this evening, the P1 and the P3 tier. I'm sure those action were absolutely fantastic. But for myself and Max, I'm going to go and get some food, and we're going to have a bit of a lie down after that one. But we will see you next week for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Will Samba make it another win, or will anyone else be able to capitalise? See you soon. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.